mean, you can't beat that nowhere.
This week on Kentucky Afield, we're on the state's only naturally occurring lake, in tough conditions with the world's best crappie fishermen.
Oh, there's another one. Oh.
Get ready for a lesson in slabology with Mr. Ronnie Capps.
Look at there. We ain't caught a small fish yet.
Then, the 2018 elk draw recently took place.
We got 710 hunters that are just hoping.
We'll walk you through it and tell you what to do next if you are one of the lucky hunters drawn. Last but not least, Kentucky has a great new program geared towards helping improve the state's wildlife.
Try to get it in as far as we can get it.
We'll take a look at one species that could use the help. It's all next on Kentucky Afield.
Dear Mom, I know a secret. You're a kid too. Salado is open and open for fun. We can go see deer, wink at wildcats, and giggle at that big black bear. You know he's your favorite. There's enormous elk, awesome aquariums, and we can even take a picnic lunch. And if you're really good, I'll let you take me back again.
The Salado Wildlife Education Center in Frankfort. Come prowl a while.
Yeah, we got one. Sweet.
Got a muskrat?
Yeah.
Good job.
What do you know about that, man? That's a good fish, man.
Nice male smallmouth, healthy, pretty colors.
Cody, here. Find us one more good pheasant, Cody.
As biologists, we catch ducks and we place bands on them.
And it's just a really excellent place to see cottonmouths.
What do you think?
That was pretty fun.
Hello and welcome to Kentucky Afield. I'm your host, Chad Miles. Join us as we journey the Commonwealth in search of outdoor adventure. Reelfoot Lake in the western part of the state is one of the only naturally occurring lakes in the state of Kentucky. And the fishing is good too. Reelfoot Lake, if you've never been here, the scenery is phenomenal. The cypress trees, the shallow water, and it's just a beautiful lake to be on, and there's so many fish.
It's about the most fertile lake I know of, yeah. Very hard to even see a bite, but we got one.
Look at that crappie. That's a good, you got a net?
Big old male, I do, but we probably get by without it.
All right.
Big old male, he's a pound fish. I mean, you can't beat that nowhere.
No, that's a nice crappie right there. Thick.
He got a little bit of color to him. Oh, there's another one. Oh, we missed one. There you go.
Yeah, I got this. Tell me a little bit what's unique about Reelfoot Lake.
In the crappie department, February is probably my select time to fish for the black crappie that live here. They stay shallower, they have a different diet. Those fish typically are found in our heavy vegetation areas. But then the white fish really starts to get active about the 1st of April. And the most activity is going to be at the end of April. They're males, they're big old males, what they are. That's a pound and a half fish there. Some of these fish in Reelfoot these days are probably as nice as I've ever seen.
Now, how do you know they're males?
They're starting to get the color to them. They're white crappie, but you see this black, the black, it's starting, they got the vertical bars, yeah. But you see the black color that's starting to come out in them. It's basically because they're living in shallower water.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
That one there's taking a little line on its own.
You got you a monster.
It's a yellow bass. If I ain't mistaken, you guys have yellow bass?
Yes, sir.
It's a big one.
This lake extends all the way north past the Kentucky state line. The federal refuge is all in Kentucky on the Long Point unit. But honestly, there is some huge black crappie in Kentucky, and I do make the trip all the way north to catch some of those monsters. They're on the Long Point unit of the National Wildlife Refuge on Reelfoot Lake. You can leave right here and get there by boat in Kentucky. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
That's a good fish.
That's another good one. Now, in this type of wind, will you go up with the amount of weight you're using?
I'll be using a 16th ounce on a 6-pound line exclusively down here. There is so much difference between an 8th and a 16th that you wouldn't believe it here.
Yeah.
If I'm fishing, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, not any deeper than 8 or so, I usually try to stay in that 16 range.
Even in the wind.
A lot of people will go up with size when they're dealing with this kind of wind. I mean, it's whooping right here, y'all. It's whooping now.
That's that one.
It's another one of them good ones. In this time of year, the male fish prefer those logs to spawn on. Those males will stay there through June.
Wow.
And so it's pretty consistent fishing as long as you can put a hook on that log. And one hook's really all you need. I just kind of bump the wood with one hook.
I tell you what, it is absolutely amazing watching you use that 360.
You've got to hold your hook right on that wood or you're probably not gonna get a bite.
And you know exactly where that rod tip is in relation to the scale on there.
This first ring is 15 foot, then 30. My pole is 14. So I can pretty well figure that my pole is just on the inside of that ring.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got a little log left here, a little bit. Usually on the ends of the log, you can count on getting a bite. So about right up here, about like right in there, see that fuzz right there? That's a great spot. There's a fish right there too, by the way. See him? See that little line?
Yep.
Right on the very end of it. And I don't know why we're not getting a bite right there. There he is.
There you go. That's another good one.
If you can't hold that boat, you can't catch these fish, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm set up today. It's a 14-foot BGJP Bucks graphite jig pole, 6-pound line, 16th ounce, and I am using a unique color. It's blue and purple. I got a lot of confidence that when male fish start getting their war paint, basically, if you will. Oh gosh!
Look at there. We ain't caught a small fish yet.
Can't do better than that, guys.
No, no, you cannot. What was it about crappie that got you into wanting to do this?
You know, I grew up right here on Reelfoot fishing, and the only professional kind of tournament that ever happened at this lake was a crappie tournament. There you go. There you go.
Your approach is much different than just about anyone else I've been on the boat with. And that's why your attention to detail is what makes you Crappie Angler of the Year multiple times. So
it really is water time. Honestly, it all has come full circle. My grandfather carried me right here when I was just a kid, and he had what we called a doodle bug. It was basically a cork with a number 9 tarred twine and a lead ball on it, about a pound lead ball, and he would bounce it as we had traveled. He'd bounce it. When the doodle bug went off in the little hole, he could feel it rubbing up against the log. He's like, "That's a log." So we'd turn around and fish it, and that's amazing that we had no electronics whatsoever. We only had a ball and a lead ball and a piece of string.
And you're fishing the same stumps and same logs that your grandfather found with the doodle bug.
He would roll over.
The same ones.
Promise you this, he would roll over in his grave if he were to look at this screen and see the log and every limb on it and the fish on it. There he is.
There you go.
That's another one of your stripes, man.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Pulling hard, isn't it?
That's right.
I'll tell you what. Look at that size of that joker. these are big ones.
Bacon. I like to hear that. A guy with one rod that has electronics like we have today can take that one rod and go and do exactly the same thing. It's just a different way of catching them. And if they want to hold it in their hand and get bit, yes, that's fun as it can be. Some people say, I can't stand to fish unless I feel him bite. I want to feel that thump. I'm like, man, I can feel the thump through my eyeballs. You know, whatever you like, but crappie is one wonderful species to have in your lake, and quality crappie they're good at the table, they're good to catch. I think crappie fishing is headed in a different direction these days, honestly, I do.
Many hunters in the state of Kentucky would love the opportunity to hunt elk. And if you're one of the lucky 700 or so individuals that were drawn, you're probably wondering, what's next?
Today we're at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. We're here to unveil the 2018 elk hunters for the upcoming season. It's a fabulous thing that we're able to offer for our residents and non-resident hunters. Big thing, we're looking forward to it. I know a lot of our folks are really excited about this time of year. May is when the draw comes out. We're gonna have those names today. So we got 710 hunters that are just hoping, May, this is gonna be my year. I'm gonna get drawn. I'm gonna get a chance to hunt an elk here in Kentucky.
You know, there's been such an impact on tourism in this area, and when I'm talking about this area, the Appalachian region, we have probably one of the best elk tour programs around, going through Jenny Wiley State Resort Park. We have 3 different areas where you can go find elk. Almost always find elk for people to see, and until you see one of these majestic animals up close, it's unbelievable. Welcome to the first elk drawing live reveal in 20 years. Now, what we're all waiting for. We're going to start with cow archery. It's Todd Adams from Eminence, Kentucky.
We are so excited that we got to have the elk draw back in eastern Kentucky.
Joshua Barnett, Georgetown, Kentucky.
The draws for our very first elk hunts were done in Hazard, Kentucky, and they were done with a big cage, and we spun and we pulled names out one by one, pulled out names that had cards that had everyone's names on it.
The first one is Tracy Cerise, C-E-R-I-S-E, Lexington, Kentucky.
And back then we were only drawing about 10, 12 people, you know, maximum 40, so it was really easy to do. Well, now that we have 700 people drawn and all of those names, it's not quite so easy. So we thought, well, what better thing to do than celebrating 20 years of elk in Kentucky than to bring the elk draw back to eastern Kentucky.
You've been picked. You're going to get the chance to hunt elk in Kentucky. Now what? That is the most common question we hear is, man, I got my name pulled. Now what do I do? A lot of things you got to be thinking about right off the bat is, you know, when's the season? Do I need to schedule a vacation? How am I going to do this? Do I know anybody who's been drawn? What's my tag? Where do I apply? All these things you need to be asking yourself. For me right now, what I recommend to our hunters is talk to somebody who's been drawn before. Most chances, if you're a hunter and you know somebody who's had an opportunity to go, pick their brain, talk to them, see where they hunted, where they didn't, what they learned, and try to learn from them. Do I want to try to have somebody help me or do it on my own? And if you're thinking about a guide, what I tell people is call them, talk to them. They'll tell you what areas to apply, where they work, treat it like you would any business decision, get recommendations, references, and then work with that guide. If that's something you know you don't want to do, at that point you need to be looking on our website. We produce a lot of good information on your profile that talks about success and public hunting areas, where you can hunt, all those things that can really help you be informed to make good decisions. So some dates you need to be thinking about. You know, we have the results. You have until July the 6th to put out your preference if you want to hunt in one of the limited entry areas. So you have 2 months to really think about that. After that time, we'll do a secondary drawing where we'll put all of our hunters in the limited entry areas, and at that point, you're ready to go hunting. You know, you pay for your hunting license, you pay for your elk tag, and then get out there and scout. The more effort and more time you can put into scouting, the better your chances are for success. So, you know, take some trips down, familiarize yourself with the areas that you want to hunt, take notes, mark where you're seeing sign. A lot of that's going to change because it's warm, you know, when the season gets here, but all that helps you to be prepared to navigate yourself and really will help you. So look at all those things. That's what you really need to be doing this time of year, is thinking about it, planning, reviewing all the good literature we provide to all of our hunters, making some trips to eastern Kentucky, the elk zone, talking to hunters, talking to guides, being the best you can for them to really help you play out for a successful hunt this fall.
Now let's check in and see who's catching what and where in this week's fishing report.
This is Adam Martin with your Western District Fishing Report. Here at Kentucky and Barkley Lakes, the bass fishing has really been heating up. More and more schools are showing up on the main lake ledges, but the majority of fish are still being caught on the shallow ledges inside the bays. The productive baits have been deep diving crankbaits, Carolina rigs with a long leader, Texas rigged worms, and the increasingly popular swim bait. Night fishing for bass is also a great approach this time of year, and as we get into the summer months, if you decide to go night fishing, use baits with darker colors which provide more contrast in low light conditions. Things like black spinner baits with Colorado blades and dark, loud topwater lures. Crappie fishing has slowed down a little bit, but there are still plenty of fish to be caught if you're willing to try some new tactics. The hottest trends lately have been spider rigging and pushing or pulling small crankbaits. Crankbait color and motion are very important, so bring some variety with you until you figure out what style and color is working on that particular day. Crappie anglers targeting shallow brush piles and stake beds have been less successful lately, as these fish are already moving out to deeper water. The channel catfish and red ear sunfish bite is slowing down as these fish finish up their shallow spawning activities and retreat back to deeper water. The best catches have been on night crawlers and crickets. Please remember to be safe out there and wear your life jackets. Good luck and good fishing.
Hello, this is Jeremy Shiflett with the fishing update from the Northwest District. Recently, fishing has been great at both reservoirs. Largemouth bass are being caught off primary and secondary points near the drop-off in 10 to 15 and even 20 feet of water. Carolina rigs and jigs with lizards, brush hogs, and similar baits in green pumpkin, melon, and black have been successful. Crappie are being caught off of shoreline trees and brush piles 10 to 15 feet deep. Tube jigs on a 1/16 ounce jig head are a good choice. Pearl is a great color to start with, but try various colors to find what the fish like that day. You can find some white bass and hybrid striped bass in the jumps morning and evening. Cast shad colored swim bait, shad wraps, or similar shallow running cranks and topwater lures to get a strike. Bluegill and channel catfish are active in our small state lakes and at the reservoirs as well. Hybrid sunfish were recently stocked in Owensboro and Litchfield Fins lakes. These aggressive fish will bite on just about anything and are fun for all ages. We have recently taken some 360-degree images of some of our district boat ramps and bank fishing areas. These images can be accessed via on the Kentucky Water Bodies page of our website, fw.ky.gov, or via Google Street View on your desktop or mobile device. More images will be available soon. Good luck and hope to see you on the water.
The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife works with many animals outside of those that we fish and hunt. They also have an entire division dedicated to non-game species. To learn more or to see how you can help, search the department's website for Kentucky Wild. Now let's take a look at one of those species that this program and you can help.
Well, we're gonna head up here to this point. Some good habitat up here.
Yeah, it looks swampy.
Yeah. Probably come back out and put our second box out here. I think let's go with your spot, Kate. It's a little bit more wooded.
Yeah, there's some places we could put one.
Yeah, I think over there is a little bit better.
We're out here today putting up nest boxes for prothonotary warblers. This species is a species of concern in Kentucky, and that's because it was found to be declining. This is our only cavity nesting warbler in Kentucky, and so something we can do for them is put up nest boxes.
This is a great location. We're at Lake Benji-Kinman. The Audubon Club donated a lot of materials and time and effort to build and paint all of these boxes. I'll show you one right here. So it's a little bit of a different design than your normal birdhouse or bird box. It's a PVC pipe. It's got a pretty small opening on it. That's to prevent other nest parasites from getting into these cavities. We found that prothonotary warblers are not picky about what kind of nest they use. They will use anything, and that makes it easy for us to create a design that will last a really long time. We chose this location because it's a forested wetland area, and these are swamp warblers. That's one of their nicknames. We'll put these boxes over water, and we'll put our first one in right over here.
This is on here with a compression fitting, so if you ever need to replace the box or take it off and repair it, you can pretty easily, and it'll screw onto that post she's just put in.
Because we're placing this pretty close to land, we're gonna face the hole out towards open water. If this were further into the water, we would actually face the opening of the hole back onto land. There's been research done where the warblers just like that type of box orientation better, so that's what we're gonna do. Thank you very much. Tightens up pretty easy with a screwdriver. Pretty stable. It'll move around a little bit, but it's in the ground pretty solid. We're going to take a GPS point location of where this box is. Whenever we come back in May, we'll know exactly where to look. We'll walk out to the next spot. We'll try to get it in as far as we can get it. We're gonna put the second post on here. It's got the box attached to it already. Once they have established a nesting territory, they'll probably come back year after year, maybe not use the exact same nest, but they will use the same area. So hopefully we'll get some warblers. warblers in here. out here at Benji-Kinman Lake again today. We came out a couple months ago to put up some Prothonotary warbler nest boxes. We're wanting to see if the warblers are using them, so we're gonna take a peek inside of a few of the boxes. Hopefully we'll have some nest or eggs. Best case scenario is some chicks. So let's go out there and see what we got. We put the boxes over water as a natural predator prevention. Snakes, especially rat snakes, they really like to climb into nest cavities and eat the eggs or even the chicks sometimes. This is what we call a peeper camera. It's got a small enough camera lens on it that we can stick it right into the box and view what it's seeing on the monitor. Okay, so this one is empty. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's just an empty cavity. And that's okay, we've still got several more boxes to check. We put up around 20 or so boxes on this lake, so we'll just move on to the next one. I don't see anything just yet, but I've heard a male singing, and so this is probably his territory. So we'll take a peek inside of the box and see what we got. Right in time. It looks like we have some chicks and maybe an egg or two. There's definitely 1, 2, 3, 4 chicks. Oh no, 5 chicks. There's actually 5 chicks in there and 1 egg. That's really good. Warblers typically lay 5 to 6 eggs, so 5 of them have already hatched. They're super young, so maybe that last egg will hatch out. We'll have 6 babies. Oh, and that was the male singing right up there. He says, sweet, 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 sweet. He's got a grub in his mouth. It's feeding time. We don't want to keep him away too long. We'll let him get back to his babies and give him some lunch.
Now let's see who else is out there having fun as we check out this week's ones that didn't get away. Here we have Buck Markham with a really nice 8-pointer that was taken in Washington County, Kentucky. Nice buck. Check out Oliver McElfresh. He's 3 years old. He caught this red ear sunfish in his family pond in Independence, Kentucky. Nice job. Check out the smile on Kyrus Kelsey, who's 3 years old. Took this nice sunfish on Cedar Creek Lake. Nice job. Here we have a walleye taken by Cheyenne Gregory of Wayne County. This was their very first walleye and it's 24 inches long. Nice job. Here's a really nice wide Henry County buck taken by Troy Tuggle. Nice job. Here we have 10-year-old Zaid Woodsman who took his very first deer on a cold day with his dad's 30-30. Nice job. Lauren Smith's really happy to take her first buck in Pulaski County. Nice deer. Houston Davenport started out with a bang. He's going to have a rough time beating this big buck taken in Anderson County in 2017. Nice job. Derek Talby got him a trophy with this 40-inch muskie. Nice fish. Here we have Jared Banks with a nice muskie. This muskie measured 41.5 inches. Nice job. 2-year-old Owen Staten caught his very first fish while fishing with his dad in a farm pond in Pendleton County. Nice fish. Tessa Buckman from Uniontown caught her very first fish at Morton Lake in Union County. I bet this won't be her last. Here we have Kaiten Rice, who's getting out there and fishing that Finn Lake in Campbell County. She caught this 10-inch trout. Nice job. Here we have Kelly Mercer and her father who doubled while turkey hunting in Hart County. Nice job. Here we have Corbin Highfield of Lewis County who's holding one of my favorite fish to go after, a white bass. This fish was almost 15 inches long and caught on Cave Run Lake. Nice job. Now here's an impressive deer taken by Taylor Fitzpatrick in Clark County, Kentucky. Nice job. Do you have a hunting or a fishing photo that you'd like to share? Well, Kentucky Afield is now accepting emailed photos of the ones that didn't get away. We will no longer accept photos sent through the mail. Email your photo to us at kyafield.ones@ky.gov. Calling all bow fishermen and women, you need to know about an upcoming event. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife is hosting Carp Madness 2, a bow fishing tournament designed to eliminate as many invasive carp as possible from Kentucky and Barkley Lakes, as well as the Cumberland and Tennessee rivers. $23,000 in prizes are up for grabs on June 23rd. Register at the Bow Fishing Association of America website and help us control Asian carp here in Kentucky's waters. Make sure you join us next week for a special Father's Day episode here on Kentucky Afield. And make plans now to take your family fishing. And remember, hunting and fishing on private property is a privilege. Always ask permission and thank the landowner. Until next week, I'm your host, Chad Miles, and I hope to see you in the woods or on the water.